time for some more 31 Days of Horror Toronto After Dark edition, yes. More festival coverage because we are talking The Dark. The Dark, yes. This is, I believe, a Canadian film. Maybe not. I don't remember. Austria and Canada. That's what it was. Austria and Canada. So, yeah. The film is directed by Justin P. Lange, or Lange. And it's essentially, he's the writer-director. This is his debut. So I already know what you're thinking. Canadian film, first-time writer-director. Yes, it is low budget. I know. And I will admit that the promotional materials that we essentially had available to us before going into this didn't really promise much of anything. I wasn't looking forward to it. We'll just say that. What is the film about? The film is about a boy and a girl coming together and forming an unexpected, well, I guess it might be unexpected, but an unconventional bond, if you will. One of them is blind, and not like blind in the eyes necessarily, but they've been, I don't know if they had like acid poured on them or fire or burnt or something. I don't know. They were scarred all over their eyes, so they couldn't actually, you couldn't even see their eyeballs. It was, prosthetic over top of their face. So the young boy was scarred or maimed or harmed somehow to causing him to be blind. And then the girl is some kind of, I don't know what you want to call him, cannibal forest person, kind of, is what you kind of get the thoughts of. Somebody who seemed to have been left in to fend for themselves and went a little feral, we'll just call it that. Though they still wear clothes and all that kind of such. Haven't gone completely feral, where they're just naked running around in the forest. The film takes place in the fall, so it has a very cold feel to it. I did get a lot of Let the Right One In, or Let Me In, if you North American version, vibes from this, two, creature and human coming together. We'll call it creature. There is stuff that's revealed in the film later on about the origins of this. I'm guessing it was a girl, though it was a little hard to tell at times, as is the case with young boys and girls. It's sometimes ambiguous when things aren't really made clear, especially if you've been living out in the wild. You're not necessarily dressing male or female, or you're just sort of dressing whatever. But I'm pretty sure it was a young boy and young, we'll call it girl. It's still human. Were they human? I don't know what you call them, human. Whatever. Feral creature girl. Coming together, much like, Let the Right One In. It's very clear that there are similarities to that. What is funny is this film kind of has different elements. At first, the boy is being essentially kidnapped by a gentleman by the name of Josef, played by Karl Markovich. And I think he did a fantastic job in that particular role. don't know. The Devil's Mistress, you might have seen him in that. Mystery of the Snow Queen, Grand Budapest Hotel. He's been in quite a few things. I don't think there was anything really stuck out to me in terms of what he was in, but he essentially kidnaps him and takes him into the forest and finds what he thinks is an abandoned house, and he's gonna, I guess, stay there or whatever. There is no you don't really get the backstory of that portion of the relationship, why the guy's kidnapping this boy. There seems to be something else there. Perhaps we may get a sequel, prequel, telling that story. Who knows? And that's possible. I think it might be interesting. But yeah, so he takes this boy, who is named Alex in the film, to a house. Now, Alex is played by a young gentleman by the name of Toby Nichols. I don't know. He's been in stuff, but I mean, like, he's very young, right? Like, I mean, he was in American Horror Story as, I don't know, Hank, 14-year-old Hank. Project Z, History of the Zombie Apocalypse. He was a baseball zombie. So, I mean, like, he was in the Iron Fist television series as the young Danny Rand. I guess that's the one thing I can say that you might know him from. Yeah, that's probably about it. Outside of that, I doubt it. But yeah, so he's the blind boy, and he's kidnapped. And of course, they end up in this house thinking it's abandoned, but of course, that's not the case, because this feral girl, played by Nadia Alexander, lives there. Now, Nadia, this isn't her first thing. She's been in things like Boardwalk Empire, The Devil You Know, Elementary, just, little things. If you saw the TV series The Sinner, she played the adult Phoebe. But yeah, I didn't really recognize either. I guess technically I recognized Toby from the Iron Fist, but I didn't really put the two together. But it wasn't until I actually looked him up that I realized, hey, that's the guy. But yes, so Nadia goes in and she goes all feral on Yosef. Now, Alex and Yosef kind of had this, I guess, Stockholm Syndrome type relationship going or something. I don't know. Either way, Alex was very subservient to Yosef, and even till the end of the film was very much about Yosef's gonna do bad stuff if he's gonna kill my family or what, etc., if I don't do what he says, or I have to do things a specific way. Yosef only likes it a certain way. But of course, the feral girl named Mina has killed Yosef very early on in this film. And it's funny because that portion of the film, obviously you have this kidnapping to start the film, and then while he's in the house and she's going after him, it kind of has this Home Alone, this Man Behind the Mask type of, booby traps in the house type thing going off vibe, which was cool. It was fun as Yosef's trying to get away from Mina, and of course that doesn't work out. Mina, spoiler here, Mina gets him, and then eventually finds Alex, and Alex being blind is sort of the Beauty and the Beast type thing. If you've seen the film Mask, blind person, ugly, facial deformity, teenager, they develop a friendship. Why? Because the blind person can't see the other person. Of course, Mina's got some scarring and deformities to her face as well, so they just develop a friendship based off of personalities, and Mina helps Alex, obviously blind, and get around. And for most of the film, it's just kind of this relationship between these two young individuals. And it's just like Let the Right One In, which fantastic film. This one follows along that lines, and I think I enjoyed it so just because it was so much like Let the Right One In. I mean, Let the Right One In. This might have been a little bit more brutal than Let the Right One In, but it's not about the gore or the horror elements, or it's not about the scare or anything like that, or the action. It's more about this relationship between these two young individuals, and those two films share that between them. And I think those are the two things, that aspect of both films is what really works for most people. I mean, that's otherwise. I mean, yes, I think there was probably a little bit more quirks to Let the Right One In, and a little bit more interest, backstory, and such than in this particular film. But at the same time, it's on par. It's on par. I mean, they definitely. I would be very surprised if Justin P. Lang didn't take inspiration from Let the Right One In. Even if like unknowingly, like subconsciously maybe he did it, but I would find it hard to believe that there wasn't something there. That being said, I don't think it's quite as good as Let the Right One In, but it's still a fantastic film. Yes, if I was to give it a rating out of 5, I might go as high as 4 on this one out of 5. It is quite well done. It is entertaining. It gets to you right after a while. And yeah, it's one of those films that I honestly, I hope you get to see it. It runs about an hour and a half long. It wasn't very, it wasn't over drawn out or anything. Oh boy. It gets to, yes, I would have liked more backstory to both characters, honestly. There is very, very, very small amounts given with regards to the history of the Mina character. And I don't think there was really anything about the Alex character outside of maybe a few words and, of course, this kidnapping thing. But, I mean, because of either of those, this definitely could open itself up to a prequel where you tell both of those stories and then have it end with essentially the same scenes as this film here, how it begins. I mean, why not, right? I would still watch it. I don't think it would be nearly as good as this film, or could be. I don't know. In my head, I'm picturing something pretty straightforward, so I'm saying not going to be good. But at the same time, I want that story. I want that back. I want to know why. I want to know the what happened, right? So they don't give that in this film, which is well, they don't give enough. We'll just say they don't give enough of it in this film. I think they could have easily added on 15 minutes to this film and given that, but it wasn't necessary at the same time. So if it was shot, if they did have it, I can understand why they cut it out. Timing, keep the pace going and such like that. It might have made the film feel a little less polished, maybe a little winded. I guess. I don't know. But at the same time, part of me I wanted it. I want it. Well, I not only wanted it, but I do want it. I do want to know this information. So maybe a different, maybe a book or a comic book or something like that. Some other medium might give me that information. I don't know. But yeah, The Dark. I'm pleasantly surprised. We'll say that I am pleasantly surprised. I would definitely give this a recommend. It's not one of those things that you'll want to watch over and over and over again, but if you're a fan of Let the Right One In, then I think The Dark is definitely something you will want to check out, because it's totally down the same type of vein, same type of feel, same type of idea. If you weren't a fan of Let the Right One In, I doubt you'll like The Dark. It's possible. Anything's possible. But because, well, I mean, again, Let the Right One In, subtitles, some people, subtitles, that's, no. But it got remade. So if you liked Let Me In, which is essentially Let the Right One In, practically a direct remake, then, yeah, check out The Dark, if you can. Hopefully. I don't know if it's going to get released anywhere or anything. Fingers crossed, I guess. Because, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the company was that was behind this. I mean, a lot of the companies that do the Toronto After Dark, get their films in here, into the festival, are companies that do physical releases. That's their big shtick. They're not really theatrical release type of companies. They're more, Blu-ray, DVD type things, maybe video on demand, but not so much. So hopefully it's one of them that's behind this film. I don't know. I don't know if they made it or if they just have it for distribution. Either way, if you get a chance to see The Dark, directed by Justin P. Lang, it's a 2018 film about a boy and a girl, young boy and a girl, say preteen, teen age, early teens. Yeah, early teens. I wouldn't say they're 16 yet. Less than 16. Then, yeah, one's a feral girl, one's a blind boy, scarred face. Then, yeah, give it a shot. Let me know what you think. Comment down below. Yeah. More 31 Days of Horror to come. More Toronto After Dark to come. So, stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Till next video, take care. Have a good one.